Macho Madness. Macho Wrestling 101. I'm Brett Mix for the channel here. Hit like and subscribe if you like old wrestling videos, plus up-to-date wrestling videos. I'd really appreciate it. Today we come in with another WrestleMania anthology video. Chronological order. Today we are at WrestleMania 21. WrestleMania Goes Hollywood for the first time. They had a lot of actors spoofing, obviously, Hollywood movies that were big with pop culture at the time. WrestleMania 21 took place on Sunday night, April the 3rd, 2005, in front of 20,193 fans. The gross revenue just from ticket sales alone was $2.1 million, just from packing that 20,000-seat LA Staples Center. The tickets must have been off the charts. Celebrities such as Adam Sandler were at the event. Michael Cole and Taz did commentary for SmackDown, while JR and King did it for Raw. Lillian Garcia sang America the Beautiful, and Booker T won last eliminating Chris Masters in a 30-man interpromotional battle royal. Booker T won that. Anyway, let's get to the opening contest. Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio. These two have produced a number of classics in their lifetime together. This was a great one, but the minor gripe I have is Rey's mask kept falling off, and Rey kept adjusting it every single time he had to go on for a fly, for a springboard, for a senton, for a moonsault, for a counter. He had to grab the mask, and it was really bothering him. So, obviously, if he could have done this again, he would have picked a different mask. These guys are so fluent with each other. They know what the next person's going to do. It just makes for great wrestling. I mentioned that in a Bret Hart Mr. Perfect review I just did the other day. These guys, it's like a day off when you have the other guy in the ring. I knew it was coming, even though I remember watching this live. I was in a theater, actually, with a buddy. And Rey was on the outside while Eddie was laying down. Rey was going to springboard him for a West Coast pop. And I said to my buddy, I said, nope, Eddie's going to stand up and counter it into a powerbomb in midair. So right when Rey springboarded, Eddie stood up and countered it into a powerbomb in midair. And he looked at me and he said, how the hell did you know that? I said, hey man, I've watched lots of Eddie and Rey. I know what's going to happen. But it's not a bad thing. It's just it's a great thing. If you know what these two guys are doing, if you're a fan like I am, you appreciate it even more. Eddie chants broke out, but Mysterio catches Eddie out of nowhere with a Hurricane Rana and pulls off the upset victory at 12:39. Rey got the best of Guerrero. We call it upset because Eddie Guerrero was standing a little bit higher than Rey was on the title picture line, even though Rey has an excellent record against Eddie one-on-one. They would put together a couple more classics, did Rey and Eddie in the spring of 2005, one on Judgment Day and one on SmackDown in June. So really, if you like Eddie and Rey, check out those two matches. Those two matches plus the Halloween Havoc 97 matches are probably their three best. There's a decent one at World War III as well in 1997, but those are the three best, I'd say. Judgment Day 05, SmackDown 05, and Halloween Havoc 97. This match, solid opener. I give it 3 stars and a quarter. Again, Rey's mask. If Rey's mask wasn't a problem, it'd probably even be higher because he would then be more focused on the match. Next, we have the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match. Edge versus Shelton Benjamin versus Chris Benoit versus Christian versus Kane versus Chris Jericho, who's the guy who came up with it. Obviously, the writers came up with it, but Jericho was the wrestler to say it. Maybe Jericho actually in real life came up with it, so they made it on screen that way. But who knows? Jericho on screen came up with it, but maybe off screen he did too. When I rewatched this match, I couldn't believe how the brutality. Chris Benoit with one good arm, he dove off the top of the ladder with a headbutt to Kane, and his fucking forehead just gouged open, and it's like a fish sizzling on a frying pan, just tremoring and shaking and holding his good arm. And then Edge comes up and smacks his bad arm again with a chair, and he falls to the ground. There's a ladder propelled like this. Shelton Benjamin comes out of nowhere and climbs diagonal up the ladder within 3 seconds and clotheslines Edge off the top. Kane, when his intro came, all the ladders from the stage were on fire. and that was like a metaphor as Kane come from the top with a suicide dive. Jericho and Christian, they all took bumps, big bumps off the ladder, from the ladder all the way to the floor. There was just a ton of bumping going on. Shelton also, Jericho also hit the ladder up and caught Christian in the face. Shelton also climbed up and springboarded from the ropes to the ladder and then clotheslined both guys off the ladder. There was just too many moves to mention in this match. I give it 4.5 stars. Yeah, it's really good. It's a really good match. Edge wins in the end. And Edge would obviously go to cash in his Money in the Bank at the next year's New Year's Revolution to become a champion for the first time. But Shelton was the MVP of the first ever Money in the Bank match. Next up, we got Legend vs. Legend Killer. We got Orton versus The Undertaker. This was one of the few times I considered that Undertaker could ever lose. And go figure, I had no idea when Undertaker faced Lesnar. I didn't even consider that as a year that he could lose. I just thought, no, Undertaker's winning again. And I'm actually one of the few people that were okay with Undertaker losing to Lesnar. After it happened, I thought, hey, that's cool. Give Lesnar the beast rub. Taker, he had his streak. It's still there. It doesn't mean he doesn't have to have it keep going. He still had the streak while it lasted, and that's great. Anyway, that's a different video for a different day. I might do a rant on that. I don't know. And I say rant not because I'm mad, but I just do rant videos that obviously I get to speak my mind out. But this is one of the few matches, back to my point, this is one of the few matches I thought Undertaker, if he's going to lose at WrestleMania, maybe he's going to lose to Orton, because Orton was the Legend Killer. Orton needed a rub because he was just coming off a huge babyface turn that just plummeted. So something big versus The Undertaker here could have really put Orton on the map, but you can't really... This was a good test. Either win or lose, this isn't going to hurt Orton if he lost to The Undertaker at WrestleMania. It doesn't hurt anybody to lose to Undertaker at WrestleMania. It doesn't. Taker ended up going 13-0 as he countered an RKO, as he won with the Tombstone. Earlier in the match, Orton countered a choke slam attempt into an RKO, which was spot on, and that got a dangerous near fall. But at 14, Taker, as I said, goes 13-0. The match is excellent. It's actually one of Orton's finest performances and definitely one of The Undertaker's best at Mania. Yeah, I gave this match 4 stars. So far we got 3 stars and a quarter and 4 stars and a half and 4 stars. This WrestleMania is looking good. Trish Stratus defended the women's title against Christy Hemme with Lita for the women's title. So the show was going great, but fans chanted "We want Matt" when Lita was at ringside. Stratus landed a chop to Christy. Christy nailed Trish with a low blow with one leg up. Christy takes the leg. I don't know what she did with the low blow. That's just what I wrote in my notes about a decade ago. My reviews, by the way, can be found on Google. Just Google Brett Mix reviews, and they take you to the site I used to work for, because they still have them up in the site. I'm not going to mention the site just because then they'll think that I'm still a part of it. I have no affiliation. I stopped writing for that website in 2012, but they still have my reviews, so you can Google Brett Mix reviews. I just read them and then I watch the match and then I consider both and then I get my own rating from it. So anyways, back to the match. Christy Hemme and Trish. In the end, 4-11, Stratus retained her title after giving her a chick kick. So Christy was obviously distracted by what Lita was doing on the outside. Hemme sent Trish to the corner. She backed off. She hits the twist of fate while Lita taught her. Christy got an inside cradle. Trish kicked out. Once Trish landed a chick kick high to Hemme in midair, put her away with it, and Lita didn't look pleased. So I put this match is a tad better than I remembered. I must have been thinking of Ashley vs. Christy. That was the bad match. 1 full star for because of Trish Stratus and her efforts alone. So I gave it 1 star. Next up, we have an interpromotional match, the Dream Match, Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle. Now, dream matches are overused, overrated term, but this was a dream match. We didn't get Bret Hart versus Kurt Angle, but we're going to get Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle. So, next best thing, right? We saw them for months feuding on the other person's show. You know, Marty Jannetty coming in, Angle doing Shawn Michaels' career. Anyways, the singing "Sexy Boy" on microphone with Sherry. We've seen him do a lot of things, but this match, it was more about what happened in the ring. And Shawn Michaels came to wrestle. I thought Kurt Angle might have been intimidated by that because Michaels is the high-flying aerial in-ring specialist, in-ring general, while Kurt Angle is more the mat technician. And anyway, Shawn came to wrestle. It was sort of like at WrestleMania 12. He just stuck with the side headlock and went for the hammerlock. And every time Angle tried to ride Shawn just applied more leverage with a standing side headlock. And that was the first 5 to 8 minutes of the match, back and forth in between those with chain wrestling. And Angle did not look pleased, so Angle hit some desperation suplexes, and that took Shawn out of doing the headlock a lot. Angle leveled Michaels with a hard forearm, and then Shawn got Angle into his own ankle lock. Angle countered it into the ankle lock, I should have said. Shawn gets out in a hurry, having it scouted, and leveled Kurt with a forearm, then a clothesline, taking them both to the top rope to the floor. Shawn, on the outside of the ring, moves television monitors as the Staples Center pops, thinking they're going to get a table bump. Angle catches Shawn with the European uppercut twice to Michaels, from Michaels. Angle gets ready to fight back to suplex Shawn, but he lands on his feet. Angle picked up Shawn for an angle slam and drove him back first into the ring post. Key moment of the match there, as Michaels' his spine hits the ring post, because after that it was all downhill as Angle worked on the lower back of Michaels, which had the legit injury from Royal Rumble 98 when he, in the casket match with The Undertaker, when he injured his back. They played on that the rest of the match as Angle went for a body scissors to torque the body and put more pressure on the lower back. All of Angle's offense was now implemented into the lower back of Shawn. Angle hits belly-to-belly suplexes, putting more pressure to the back, a hip lock, an abdominal stretch. Wilbur Snyder would be proud, as he originated the abdominal stretch. I get that from Jim Ross. Jim Ross always uses those lines. There's no way in hell I would have known that if it wasn't for Jim Ross. Shawn Michaels ended up chopping his way out of these holds. A big slugfest in the middle of the ring between two warriors who had already been through a lot. Michaels pushed Angle off the top rope to the canvas for an elbow drop. Angle had it scouted though and moved in time. Angle then dropped his straps, knowing he was ready, and hit an Angle slam. After he jumped up to the top rope and did an arm drag to Michaels, who came off the top and slammed onto the mat. And Shawn Michaels was on the ground, and Angle tried to hit an Angle slam, but Michaels got out of it and hit a crossbody to Angle, and both men went to the floor. Angle then on the apron tried to German suplex Michaels off the apron through the table. Michaels then springboards off the ropes to hit a crossbody onto Angle on the table, and the table doesn't even give. So that's an amazing spot that Michaels springboarded off the ropes. Angle's on the table, and then he makes contact with Angle in air on the table, but the table doesn't break all the way because they replaced it with steel. Did the King and JR, but why it didn't break? I think the spot was even better that it didn't break. It shows that these tables can be tough. Whether they were reconstructed like that or not, I don't know. Whether the table was supposed to be broken or not, I don't know, but it made it look better in my opinion that it didn't break, that it just sort of broke. Angle can't believe how Shawn keeps out wrestling him after all this pressure and after all these moves. They have a big climax here as Angle quickly jumps to the turnbuckle, hits another Angle slam to Shawn Michaels, who was trying to come off with the elbow. Shawn kicks out again. Angle is crying. Angle grabbed Michaels in trash talk, saying he would tap. All of a sudden, Shawn hit Angle with a super kick in mid-ring, knocking him out. Shawn eventually covered Kurt. 1, 2, and Angle kicks out. Jim Ross says he has no doubt both these men will be in the Hall of Fame someday, and they can't believe what he is witnessing. Shawn Michaels tried everything to roll out, but each time Angle kept the ankle lock on, and at 27:25, Angle made Michaels tap with the ankle lock after it was applied for minutes. So nearly a half an hour of great wrestling. I give it 4 stars and a quarter. Anyone that rates it higher, I can understand that, but that's what I give it. Awesome match. Next, we had Piper's Pit with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't think Austin was on his game here, but he came the next night on Raw, I remember, and made fun of Simon Dean and Maven and beat the shit out of them. I think that's what happened anyway. Yeah. And, so Roddy Piper kind of stole the show there. Carlito came out. That was kind of dumb. They tried to get the new school over with the old school, and Austin wasn't on his best game this night, but he would be better in the next few appearances that he showed up. Like, he showed up for the Mr. McMahon son thing, he showed up for SummerSlam 2007 drinking contest, he showed up for the drinking contest in 2006 on that Saturday night's main event with JBL, he showed up during the Muhammad Hassan Shelton Benjamin 2005 program, so he showed up a lot of times, but this occurrence, he just then bring your ass to the ring. Like, that's all Austin said, right? Yeah, I don't know. He wasn't the Steve Austin I knew at this event, but that's okay. You can't be on your game 24/7. It's a lot to ask for. Aki Bono versus The Big Show. It's a sumo match. I'm not going to give any star ratings. Aki Bono won at 102. Next up, we had Cena versus JBL for the WWE Championship. I really think they rushed this with Cena. I really think they should have made it wait until SummerSlam. I just thought JBL's 1-year title reign, and they're going to end it like this. JBL dominated Cena the entire match, and then Cena comes back with a superhero victory. And, yeah, people were happy JBL's title reign was over, but I thought it was too quick for Cena, and I think the match was terrible. I rated it a dud. These two would go on to have a classic match, though, at Judgment Day, an I Quit match. That's over 4 stars, but this WrestleMania match, I consider a dud just because of everything that happened. Wasting JBL's year-long title reign, the fact that Cena had no offense and JBL and then out of nowhere, Cena just wins. I didn't buy it, so I rated it a dud. Now we got the main event. Triple H versus Batista. Flair in Triple H's corner. Triple H did a great job putting Batista over here. Second straight WrestleMania, Triple H is putting somebody over after that whole Booker T fiasco in 2003. He puts somebody over 2 straight years after that. Actually, in fact, 3 straight years after that. The next year he'd put somebody over. And then the year after that he'd be injured. So Triple H hadn't got a WrestleMania victory in a long time, actually. And then I think he loses at 24 in a triple threat match. So at WrestleMania 25 is the first time when he beat Randy Orton. So, yeah, Triple H 19 and 25. And in between those, all the other WrestleManias, he didn't win. Just thought of that now. Sorry, I'm a geek when it comes to wrestling dates. I remember. It's pretty crazy. I surprise myself sometimes. Not bragging or anything. It's a geeky thing. Anyways, Batista wrestled a slow match with Triple H. They were methodical. They took their time. They were strategic. Triple H really laid the ground game. He bladed. And Flair tried to do everything he could to help Triple H win, but in the end, it was Batista at 21:34 who put Triple H away with the Batista bomb. The crowd weren't into it the whole way, but they got into it during the climax. Not main event WrestleMania quality, but watchable and good for Batista. So 2.5 stars. Overall, I give WrestleMania 21 a 7 out of 10. The first half of the show was great. The second half of the show dragged, but there was a lot of good here. So I give it 7 out of 10. WrestleMania 21, the first time they went Hollywood. I'm Brett Mix for Macho Wrestling 101 or Macho Madness, whatever the tag says right beside subscribe. Hit subscribe if you like these videos, obviously, and we'll be back for the next one. I'm Brett Mix, and I'm out.